Hey, what's up guys, hope you're doing well. This is the second workout of the week, like I told you, of my full bodies training. I'm beginning this way by dumbbell presses, vertical dumbbell presses, and yet again the lat pull downs that I showed you in the first video, but this time unilateral. So I'm wearing a t-shirt because I had a little bicep tendonitis like I told you in the previous video, so I just want to make sure that I have my shoulder warmed up and that are keeping warm. This is one of the cool way to not have much strain on them going on, at least additional stress when it's starting to get a little low in temperature, since it's fall now. So you can just walk around in a stringer, in a mini short, and expect that your knees and shoulder and elbow are all already ready for strength work. And we are back into voiceover. So as I'm showing you, this is the same machine, the lat pull down machine, but I'm doing it one arm at a time. In this way I can focus more on each side, I can better squeeze, I can better stretch, and as you will see, especially on the second arm, I am able to twist a bit the torso up, but also down, and also bend it a bit on the side. This way I can achieve a better squeeze for my lats, which is of course great for hypertrophy and also for balancing out each side, since you will always have a dominant side and a weaker side. And I'm bicycling with the dumbbell shoulder press. During lockdown I did a ton of volume on bodyweight presses, and it gave me a few shoulder problems and a bit of tendinitis into the elbow, so I had to get used to lift heavier weights back, and shoulder was a bit messy that day, so yeah. Still one of the best exercises for the overall shoulder girdle and of course the deltoid. Explanation of what I'm doing and why. I'm using the 75-80 degree incline. This way, when you're using the bench, you're really tilt incline, which is way more comfortable and useful to build your shoulder, especially the front part and the upper chest, and there is also less strain on the rotator cuff. This is also an inclination that don't require you to push through up and back, just like a normal overhead press, when, for example, when you're standing. So technique-wise, you just have to more or less control the weight and push, basically. And most people, most pro athletes are using this inclination. It isn't for nothing, because even if you are doing a really vertical bench, what happens is that when you will be training, you automatically arch your back to be in a more stacked position to work your shoulder. So instead of being completely straight like this, you will be here, so you end up in the exact same position when you're doing this bench. And now is the following exercise, which is dumbbell incline press. So let me explain why I was doing so heavy. It is actually because it was my work weight before. I was doing 5x5 with those 105, and I really wanted to get used to it, but of course I was weaker. So what I was doing is one top set to just do 2, 3, 4 reps, and then going back down to the weight that you see right now, which is my working weight, and do my reps there. You can say it's some kind of potentiation, but it was really just me trying to have fun, and as you can see here, it's train a bit more with lighter weight. And you saw the straps, so you knew what was coming. I am also surpassing it with some rows. This is just supported row with the elbows out. This is just like the T-bar row machine, so it's full row, rhomboid, straps, rear delt, which is a weak point for me. I was all lats before, so one of my best examples. I just finished the 45 degree incline press and the elbows out, just supported row. I'll go to the 30 degree incline press. Normally, this is the day when I do dips, when it dips, but my shoulder is still sensitive to stretch and the pressure that there is in the dip position, so I'm not going to risk it, especially since I still feel a little something inside, and flat bench is still a bit sensitive at the moment without any slingshot. So I want to also do flat bench with the elbows in, just to make sure there is no additional stress, and I will just do my dumbbell incline press with a bit more tricep extension focus, which will be not just focusing on doing a hug motion for the chest muscle, but also extending this. And I'll keep going with the same barbell for some rows, but a bit different rows. This is an exercise that we basically invented with Kilian, one of my friends, and I will see you very shortly, maybe quickly to explain to you the why and the how. So as I explained, my shoulder is still a bit buggy, so I prefer to keep going with some dumbbell incline, but a tad lower again, so 30 degree, and with higher reps, because I feel it work better my chest muscle with slightly higher reps than just power through with heavy weights, which does more like my shoulder, my deltoids and my triceps. And as I said, it is some kind of row I never saw anywhere, that we basically invented with my friend Kilian. He gave him a funny name, I won't even try to say it, but you're basically rounding the upper back and pulling forward and then back. Very nice to really stretch the lats, of course. And now we are going to the arm portion of a workout. So I started with some pre-short bench curl with fat grips. So fat grips allows me for really focusing the elbow flexor. I'm not only using my forearm, which is a strong point, but also my biceps. And why preacher curl? As you can see, it's a pretty vertical bench, so I can really focus only on my biceps and avoid having my shoulders steal the work, like on some normal barbell or dumbbell biceps curl, to really work what I want, which is one of the biggest factors that allowed me to finally unlock the 17 inches or 43.5 centimeter arms, is to focus more, it's to isolate it better from the forearm and the shoulders, that strong point on me, than are stealing the work. And as you can see here, I am tilting my body sideways to have more external rotation in the shoulder, to also have more focus onto the short head of the biceps, which is the inner side of the biceps, something that I lack. So yeah, one of the best exercise in my opinion, if you do it on a vertical bench, not the very inclined bench when you're just going to chill something or I don't know. So yeah, and I superset it with the PT dumbbell extension on the same bench. This way I have a thoracic support, a back support, but this isn't keeping me from moving my head and my shoulder freely. And this is my bread and butter movement for my tricep. I won't say it enough, I guess this is for me the best exercise for triceps. If you are speaking about isolation, the long head is trashed, the elbow is saved because you are still inclining a bit the torso, and the overheads are also working. Afterward, I do 3 sets again of 10, around 10 of dumbbell incline curl, and I'm using the same bench again but facing sideways. This way I am bracing hard my elbow against the bench, and I am ensuring there is no cheating. My elbow are stationary as much as possible, so the shoulder can't roll forward, it's all elbow flexion. And as you can see, it's pretty effective with pretty light weight, because 40 pounds is barely 80 kilos, so 18 kilos, so yeah. I superset it with some dumbbell pullover, bent arm, so as you can see I'm not just going up and down, I am also flexing and extending the elbow. This way I am bringing more triceps work into the addition of finishing the chest and the lat. And of course dumbbell pullover is an old school OG exercise. It works basically the whole upper body, and it's really good. Alright, so I just finished my incline curl and my bent arm pullovers. I'm going to go on the reverse curl with an easy bar and on close grip diamond push-ups. Reverse curl because I still want to have a bit of forearm training in my routine, since today wasn't really heavy in the forearm, even with all the fat grip work. And when I'm talking forearm, it's just not the wrist flexor and the elbow flexor, it's also the brachioradialis. So yeah, and the close grip diamond push-ups, simply because I discovered pretty much them during lockdown. It was an amazing exercise for my lateral head of the triceps, and all the pull down of the exercise that I would do for triceps now with the free weight, and it would be maybe too much for my elbow joint. So just some close grip diamond push-ups to finish it off to failure, 3 sets of reverse curl, and that will be more than enough. And then we go on the shoulder. Of course I will explain the why and the how. So as I stated, it's more forearm centric right now, since my biceps are pretty down. So the reverse curl is for me the best exercise you can do for your brachioradialis, which is the upper part of your forearm. And I like to do it with a pretty loose form, since I just feel it better this way. If you lack forearm, the exercise you should focus upon with hammer curls, and also chin-ups. And as you can see here, I'm just preparing for some incline banded push-up with the elbows out. So I have my hand one above the other, and I'm just doing push-ups, you know, but with the elbows out. This way there is way more focus onto the lateral head of the triceps, and with a close grip it's more triceps centric. There is nothing magical about it, but it's freaking effective, as you can see here. And as for the shoulder, like always, I'm just going to trash them. So this is a tricep. I begin with some rear delt swing, so you're basically using a heavy weight so that you can go full range of motion, and you're just doing partials, which is going to get time and attention from start to finish. But with heavy weight you're also going to stretch it, and because you have constant tension, it's also going to pump. So it's basically something that is going to just kill them. And this is really effective. It has been invented and popularized by John Milo, and I absolutely love them. They are really effective. They help me bring out my rear delt and get them up par with the rest of the shoulder. So as you can see, when I'm done, I'm just resting a bit. My arms are about to fall off, but I keep going. This way, lighter weight, and I'm just going to do Y raises. So this is basically a mix of lateral raises and rear delt flies on an incline bench. So you're just doing the portion that is behind your shoulder, so the rear delt and the lateral delt, the tie-in between the two. Really effective, really efficient. And when you can't do it anymore, you get up and you do just standard lateral raises to finish whatever you got left into the lateral delt, with a small assist from your anterior delt. Afterward, I have another bicep. So this is on an incline bench, something that a lot of old school bodybuilders did. So it's basically the ancestor of doing your reverse pec deck, but with a dumbbell. So there is a lot of stretch onto this movement. It's basically like for the pectoral when you're doing flies, a lot of tension when you're at bottom, but not that much when you're at top. So you can really, again, cue in to get a constant tension, but also benefiting from the stretch. And when you can't do it anymore, you do some lying lateral raises. Obviously my form is a bit sloppy, but I had nothing left, so of course it's going to be sloppy. And you can do just like me here. You are actually resting onto your elbow instead of your shoulder to have a bit more range of motion and a slightly easier beginning. And as you can see here, it's working pretty well when the rear delt is as big as the front delt. Alright, I'm in the weightlifting zone arena. As you can hear, there is some guy with a really loud speaker. A bit of a distance. I'm going to do my block pull, that grip, as you can see here, and I'm going to superset that with, and it will be more band focus. You'll see. As I said, I'm really sorry about the sound. I had the thumb, I think, on the mic. So here is the snatch grip high pull, block pull, excuse me. So as you can see here, it's all posterior chain. All I'm focusing upon is the hip extension, and at the top I'm squeezing the shoulder blade together as much as possible and putting the chest out to really work the rhomboid and traps. And I superset it with some neck extension, but this time with band. So I am accumulating volume. I am always working my neck, but I switch between resistances to allow more recovery and less strain onto the cervical and the connective tissues. And this way I can just pump up and do some light pump work, conditioning work, without aggravating the recovery of the area, which is of course a sensitive area. Alright guys, I just finished the neck extension and the block pull. Now we are going to move on the head slow and the neck flexion work. So while the head slow, we did a lot of flats, we did a lot of traps and rhomboids, but it was mostly traps and rhomboids. Hence why I do the snatch grip. But I already explained why. So I'm going to finish off the posterior chain with some head slow, and it will be with bands, with straps, sorry, to really minimize every ounce of strain I could have on the biceps tendon. So you'll see. And as you see, the head slow, I'm doing it with supinated grip to really be able to drive the elbow back, but I'm using the straps. Even if it's a really comfortable weight, I could do it without it, but this way I'm really relaxing my hand and avoiding to use too much biceps. So this way it's all back, all lats. And as I said, I'm focusing this time onto the neck flexion work, which is of course really going to build the front of the neck, which is for most people the key areas they should focus upon for two reasons. First, we are most often looking at other from the front, so this is the part we will most often see, and also because this is a part that seems to be weaker and less tight than the extensors that are behind, and this way you are actually improving your posture by strengthening and working them. Alright, posture chain is done. We are moving on to the more quad glutes, legs focus workout. So, Smith machine, Bulgarian split squat. I'll explain in off. I prefer to do the Smith machine for lunges variation and split squat variation. And in between sets I will do leg twists. So you go. So Bulgarian split squat in the Smith machine. I really like the Smith machine because, as I said earlier, for multiple exercise you really do not have to worry about the stabilization, the balance, and for single leg exercise I think it's just one of the best piece of equipment you can just use, because this way here, for example, in the split squat, all I have to think about is flexing my hip, flexing my knee, and just extending everything and just keeping my back upright. That is it. No balance, no lateral forces, no nothing. And this way I am really able to focus onto the glute and quad action, and even though it's heavy, even though it's supposed to be really hard onto the body, I really do not have any problem to actually work my legs and to not be limited by, again, this stabilization factor that is of course also wearing down the joints, especially the knee, the ankle. You have also the risk to just lose your balance, and in the Smith machine there is absolutely no or very little chance to do that. So for me, for legs, for split squat, for lunges, it is really a great variation if you do not have the possibility to use heavy dumbbell. Okay, I'm fucking trashed. 2 sets of CC squat on steroid, you will see what I mean by that, and 2 sets of flying leg curl with a dumbbell. And I'm using no help to get the dumbbell between my feet, so I'll show you how I do it. And between every set I'm doing, this time I mistaken the first time, but this time I'm doing the twist with the neck, rotation with one neck, and we're nearly done. To really trash hard and use a resistance that is going to be increasing as I extend my hip, my knee, as you can see here, and that is going to decrease as I am flexing them with force. So putting too much strain onto the knees, onto the patellar tendons, onto the ALC joint, onto the meniscus, but I'm actually squeezing hard against a soft resistance for my quads, especially the VMO and the vastus medialis. So really good exercise for the lower part, if I was to say, of the quads, and a really good exercise to finish it off, or to activate and do some kind of pre-exhausting, or just to warm up. But I prefer to do it just to finish it off, of course, because CC squat is a fantastic exercise. It's just really hard onto the knees, of course. And I am supersetting with some lying leg curl on a bench with a dumbbell. So the great thing with a dumbbell is that you are flexing the ankle when you are top, but you are extending them at the bottom. So at the bottom it's all hamstrings, there is little to no help from the calves, and when you are top there is just a bit of assist, but since there is little to no resistance, you have to keep constant tension, just like incline flies for your chest. And as you can see, it looks funny, it might look off for some of you, but my neck is actually just under 19 inches, so it's really a great exercise, really good for the base of the neck. And to the upper back portion onto the neck, and trust me, it is freaking effective. And I would like to finish with some calves, so I am showing you the principle of stretching. So I am doing here only 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps, which seems to be really short for calves, right? But I am actually using a lot of poses and control negative, so I'm staying 5 seconds into the bottom position to really stretch them, and I'm actually pushing my toes up to flex the tibialis anterior, to stretch them even more. When I'm top, I'm staying at top and squeezing for 3 seconds, and I'm using about 4 to 5 second descent negative to really stretch them and the load. This is the type of workout that a lot of AHT athletes and DC athletes use, and they have fantastic results with little to minimum soreness. There is not much pump with this method, but it is really effective. You just have to try to see it. and I do this once a week because it's really stressful and really hard to recover from, but really nice way to destroy the calves that are a pretty resilient muscle, to say the least, for most of us. So that is it for this video, that is it for this workout. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave your comment into the below, and take care, and of course subscribe. See you.